Come to love after, it's been about 60 or 70 weeks now where you've done the prompts every Wednesday, and people like me just keep piling up words, and that's the hardest part. And so thanks for your service to that. Even as you're an emerging voices fellow and driving to LA, and you come back here and then drive back, it's just amazing. And quite a bit of the group is here tonight. So now we get a reading from our own Elle Brooks.
Hello, San Diego. It's awesome to be here on my home turf. Thank you, TC, for inviting me and for organizing this in such a short amount of time. It's amazing what you can do when you put your mind to it. And thank you to San Diego Writers, Inc. for letting us play in their space before we move. It is sad, but we do have to move. And I'm thrilled to be the only woman in the lineup tonight and get to play with the big boys. And Matt, thank you for being here. And James, I love your work. And Jim, it's an honor to be reading with you. Before I get started, you may have seen these postcards, which are really good fans if you get hot. I am a Penn Center USA Emerging Voices Fellow, and I'm coming to the end of an 8-month fellowship, which has changed my life and has really allowed me to stand in the space of being a writer. So if you are interested in the fellowship or you know anyone who's interested, please pass it along. The application process ends August 12th. If anyone has any questions, my email is on the card. I'd be happy to help anyone with their application, anything that you need to get into this program, because it would make me so happy to have another writer from San Diego be a part of the Emerging Voices Fellowship. So my current project is a memoir titled In the Land of Liars, Cheats, and Thieves, a love story, which chronicles my journey through sexual exploitation and what happens when a random call to a local radio station DJ challenges everything I thought I knew about men. It was a long journey to find true love, and this excerpt is just one stop along the way. Spring 1993. After 3 days, 500 miles, and a half carton of Marlboro Lights, I had arrived at my destination, the face-to-face visitation room inside Michigan's Federal Correctional Institution. It was sequestered in the barren farmlands 50 miles west of Detroit. I didn't make this journey alone. My 3-year-old little boy and 8-month-old baby girl contributed to the empty juice bottles, depleted ketchup packets, and McDonald's French fries that littered the inside of my salt-stained 81 Oldsmobile, along with the baby wipes, Matchbox cars, and torn coloring books. We made the 3-state trek to see Charlie, the ex-Philadelphia cop, DEA FBI informant, and former drug dealer, the man I had chosen to be my husband and the father of my children. I met Charlie 6 years earlier in Atlantic City. I was an exhausted 23-year-old prostitute, and he was slick and shiny, a smooth talker. The kind of guy who palmed pit bosses, casino hosts, and maitre d's with ease, commanded their attention and loved being called Mr. B. The kind of guy who buffed his manicured fingernails on a felt blackjack table between $100 bets. He wore lightly starched dress shirts, silk ties, suede dinner jackets, spit-polished shoes, and a pinky ring, a wannabe wise guy. Despite his grandiose effort, my first impression was that of a used car salesman, which, ironically, he later became. In those early years, he was charming and charismatic, and in Atlantic City, the Jersey seaside town where bus people and hookers, partiers and mobsters, vacationers and sinners all converge on monopoly-named streets, Charlie fit right in. My reason for marrying this man are long and arduous, but the shorter version, and the reason I made the trip, was simply that I loved him. So on that day, although I was a 30-year-old mom with 2 kids in my arms, I was dressed as sexy girl, as if I was heading to a Halloween party instead of inside a federal prison. It had been my default since the summer of '76, the summer of the boobs, as Mom liked to call it. That same summer, she bought a microwave and basement flooring at a reduced price because she had me flirt with the salesman. My visitation outfit began with a gray college t-shirt with Michigan Law School emblazed across my C-cup-sized chest. I had tied the shirt in a knot above my waistline and my skin-tight faded blue jeans. My lips were slathered in L'Oreal's British Red Coat lipstick, and my long blonde hair pulled high into a ponytail bounced as I pranced in my white high-top sneakers. I looked up to see my husband standing, first in line, behind the inmate's own set of secure double doors. 18 years older than me, Charlie's age was more apparent than ever. He was dressed like everyone else, which must have really ticked him off. Khaki-colored short-sleeved shirt tucked into matching pants, no belt. The prison door opened and he slinked towards us, his trademark swagger absent from his 6-foot frame. "Daddy!" shouted Evan as he ran across the room. Charlie's brown eyes filled with tears at the sight of the 3 of us. He hoisted Evan high into the air. We hugged, squishing our kids between us, and I breathed deep, searching for what used to be. He stepped back as if he couldn't believe his eyes, and I stood 2 inches taller because I couldn't believe that I had single-handedly made the trip with a toddler and baby in tow. Driving westbound on Interstate 80 through Pittsburgh, Toledo, Akron, I had imagined my husband's first words, imagined how he would say how proud he was, how I was the only one to visit him since his surrender 3 months earlier, that I looked pretty. He cleared his throat with a familiar cough of a lifetime smoker, puffed up his chest and regained his composure. "What the hell are you doing here?" It was not the kind of, "Wow, you're here," greeting you give to a friend from the old neighborhood when you run into them in a new city where you now reside. No, it was more, "Who the fuck gave you permission to leave the house? Because I sure as hell didn't." I recoiled under the weight of his disapproval. In the 3 months he'd been locked up, I had gotten too big for my britches. So I stuffed whatever badass opinion I had about myself into the back pocket of my faded jeans and lowered my eyes, restoring servitude and hierarchy of our marriage. Only then could we exhale in unison. It was the dance we played. Every couple has one, even behind bars. Thank you.